Hello everyone, my name is Jesse. I'm a Sansar user and I was asked about how to import attachments into Sansar using 3D Studio Max. I read the guide just like many other people, kind of in this help page and going through the attachments, which you can just find if you search for avatar attachments, and you can find the posts about avatar attachments. So here we are back in Max. I'm going to go ahead and go to customize and get my units set up. And usually what I do is I set the system units to centimeters. And then I set my display units to centimeters as well. Sometimes I set my system units to meters, but Sansar, the FBX files that we're going to import, and I'll show you that right now as we import the female FBX file. You can see the file is in centimeters, so I'm just making sure my world is in centimeters as well. The only thing that's kind of messed up, and I'm going to show you the fix for this in a second, is the file axis direction is Y up and my system is Z up. Unfortunately, in Max, I can't change the system axis direction. So before we export, and that's kind of the extra step we'll have to do in Max. We're going to change that that rotation of the character. Unfortunately, I can't seem to get the export to work properly to respect the system axis directions. So we're going to just have to do it manually in Max. So go ahead and import that file. You can see that. So these are about 10 centimeter cubes here. It's really nice for working, for kind of measuring things out. All right, next thing I'm going to do is import these wings that I've previously made. They will come in with a texture, but I'll show you how to put the texture on as well. Again, all this is on the help page for Sansar, right over here. I'm just going to go ahead and show you it anyways. So these are the wings. I purposely made them a bit too big, and I've also centered the pivot point so I can show you how to do that. So first thing I'm going to do is make it smaller, place it over where I want it on the avatar, and kind of position it right on the scapulas there, because that's where I imagine wings would be, and then just kind of intersect us a little bit, just give it the look that the wings are coming out of the body. I'm also going to make these a little bit smaller, just to give them a little more cutesy feeling to them. And kind of lower them a little bit, and just so they don't take up as much space either, because the wings that I did for the male were just a little bit too big. So now that I've gotten positioned them how I want, the next thing I need to do is change the pivot point. So I'm going to go over to this kind of third button on the this kind of third panel here in Max, and I'm going to affect the pivot point only. I'm going to go ahead and so this is the pivot point. So what we need to do is have it match the avatar's pivot point, which is all at 0. So rather than typing in 0, if you just right-click these spinners right here, they'll all go to 0, and you'll see that pivot point go to 0. So I'm just going to turn off affect pivot point. So now that we have the object where we want it, we don't have to just fix that axis orientation issue. So we have the pivot point here, which makes it really easy. All I need to do is go to rotation, which is right here in Max, or you can just hit E on the keyboard. I'm going to set this to -90 degrees, so it's lying flat. And then I'm going to go to my reset transform, so just tell it to reset selected. And I don't have to, but I usually like collapsing everything down so there's no stack on Max anymore. So you remove everything from your stack, sure. And then there we go. So after that's, the object is in the right position for export. But before I export, I'm going to show you how the material system is laid out. And I'll just show you real quick how to plug in a new material. So I'm going to hit M on the keyboard to bring up the Slate Material Manager. I'll make this a little bit larger so you guys can see. I'm going to go ahead and pick a standard scanline material and drag it out. And then I'm going to change this material name to wings, because that's what they are, and it'll be easier for me to check it out when I import it. And I'm going to go ahead and change this from blend to Fong. I've kept it blend, and it seems to work anyways, but the Sansar wiki says to keep it Fong, so I'm just going to go ahead and do that. And then I can assign material to the selection, but before I do that, I'm going to use the little eyedropper tool to just pull the existing material off of it, so I don't have to like re-import all the textures I want to assign. So this, I didn't name this properly, so it's material 83, but basically I would import the textures here, and I can just go to materials, maps, and then go general, and then import my bitmaps there, and then select my bitmaps that I want to import. The only thing you have to do that's special in Max for setting up materials is this. You have to, if you're assigning a normal map to the bump slot, you have to go to maps, general, and then select the normal bump kind of intermediary between the two, between the normal bitmap file and then going to the bump slot. Diffuse textures go into diffuse color, so that would just go right there. And then a specular color goes into a specular, which is your roughness map, which is the opposite of a gloss map. If you have an existing specular map, really all you need to do is invert the spec map, and that should work as a gloss map. Specular color, that would normally be controlling metals. Metals is going to be under, I believe it's reflection, and that's where you would insert the metals, the metal texture, which I'm not going to do right now because I don't have one for this particular model. I'm going to go ahead and just delete this existing material just so we can just start fresh here. And then I'm going to go ahead and you can either drag out to the model this way, or you can hit that assign to object button, which I'm just going to do there. And then to actually view it, you have to click show shaded material in viewport, and it will view in Max. So that's the slate material editor. I can also adjust the shine and glossiness here, but since I have that gloss map plugged in there, it's pretty much going to take over for that. Self-illumination is where emissive maps would go, and if you have a alpha transparency map, it would be in the alpha channel of the diffuse texture. And if you didn't have diffuse texture, you can also set colors here as well in Max. So that's basically how to set up materials. Just kind of a really quick process for that. So now that materials are set up, we've named it properly, we have the scale right, I'm just going to go to File, I'm going to export selected, and then I'm just going to kick it back out as, just name it something. So I'm just going to call it Female Wings for Sansar, and save that. So at this point, you want to set your export options to Sansar. I've set up a preset, but if you want to make your own, basically you can find the settings on Sansar help page right here for 3D Studio Max. You basically enable tangents and binormals. You set the scale to meters, and then you also set your export axis to Y up, which is correct for Sansar. And so I just saved it as a preset, and now every time I save something, it exports properly with these settings. All right, so here we are in Sansar. I'm gonna go ahead and click on the second avatar that I've made, this just default kind of female. I'm gonna go ahead and hit customize. I'm gonna click on attachments. Slots that you have two head attachments with the eyeglasses and the ear slot. You have one chest attachment that's like a necklace attachment. It's kind of like the upper chest area. And then we have two left hand attachments that are both technically on the hand. You have a watch and you have a ring slot. So the wings are on the upper chest attachment, so it's in the necklace attachment slot. Go ahead and upload the file. I'm gonna hit browse. I'm going to go to my kind of folder here, and then I'm going to click on assets and click on female wing Sansar that I made earlier. Textures are embedded in the file, so I'm going to go ahead and hit open. I'm going to just kind of open the material settings so you guys can see what that looks like. We got standard, our texture's in the right spot. We have a roughness map, we don't have a metal map. And this is if I want to tint something, I can do that there. But I'm not going to do that. Everything's fine. I don't have a emissive map. If I wanted to have that stuff and assign custom textures, I can do that under custom texture file. And that will allow you to browse for a custom texture file if they weren't included in the original FBX file. Go ahead and hit save. I'm going to hit upload. I didn't change the name, but you could change the name there. All right. Oh. So we have those wings loaded in. They came in the right slot. I'm going to go ahead and hit done. So thanks for watching. I hope that was helpful. I did use some workarounds in this video that the Sansar team might end up fixing themselves in their engine. I know that Unity has the same issue with Max's up axis and actually rotates objects 90 degrees. But this is the workaround that works for me at the moment. If you know a better way, I'd love to hear it. But here's the object working in Sansar now. And I'll catch you all in World. See you later.